The crack of the rifle split the night like a thunderclap I never saw coming. I hit the dirt, heart slamming against my ribs, tasting mud and pine needles as the world tilted into chaos. "Lucas!" I screamed, my voice raw over the roar of the downpour, but he was already gone, rushing into the black heart of the storm, leaving me to wonder if I'd just lost the only man who'd ever made sense of my fractured soul. That was the moment everything shattered, out there in the brutal sprawl of the North Carolina backwoods, where Fort Bragg's field training turned boys into soldiers and secrets into shrapnel. It was week 3 of Hell Week, the kind of exercise that chewed you up and spat out whatever softness you brought from home. We'd been dropped into the Uhori National Forest with nothing but rucksacks, M4S, and orders to survive. Navigate 30 miles of rugged terrain, evade enemy patrols, and keep your squad alive long enough to hit the extraction point. No sleep, no mercy, just the relentless drum of rain turning the earth to glue under our boots. I was Private First Class Lincoln Hayes, 22, fresh out of a nowhere town in Ohio where the biggest drama was the corn harvest failing again. Enlisting had been my ticket out, America's promise of purpose, or so the recruiters sold it with their Stars and Stripes posters. But purpose? That found me in the form of Lucas Grant. He was from Seattle, all sharp edges and quiet fire, with eyes like the Pacific on a stormy day, gray-green, pulling you under before you even realized you were swimming. We'd met on the bus to basic, him sketching in a battered notebook while the rest of us bullshitted about high school conquests. I caught him glancing my way once, twice, and something unspoken clicked, like the safety on a jammed rifle finally giving way. By lights out that first night, we were whispering over bunks about everything and nothing. His mom's indie record shop closing down, my dad's ghost haunting the mill shift grave he'd dug too early. It was innocent at first, brothers in arms stuff. But out here, in the suffocating grind of training, innocence curdled into something deeper, forbidden. The Army in 2025 still preached inclusion like a bumper sticker, but don't kid yourself. The old ghosts lingered in sideways looks and locker room jabs. Gay soldiers? Sure, on paper. But in the mud and the foxholes, love like ours was a landmine waiting to blow. Lucas and I learned that quick. We'd steal moments in the shadows of pine thickets, hands brushing during map checks, voices low as we shared rations under starless skies. "This place is hell," he'd murmur, his breath warm against my neck as we huddled against the cold. "But you're the only heaven I've got." I'd laugh it off, call him a poet, but inside, it wrecked me. For the first time, I wasn't just surviving. I was alive, electric, like the 4th of July fireworks over Lake Erie back home. Our squad was a motley crew. Ramirez, the wisecracking Texan with a rosary tucked in his helmet. Kowalski, built like a fridge and twice as cold. And Sergeant Hale, our hard-ass from Alabama who ran us like he was prepping for D-Day. Hale was old school, the kind who quoted Reagan like scripture and eyed anyone who didn't fit his mold of apple pie patriotism. Lucas and I kept our heads down, but tension simmered. During night watches, I'd catch Lucas staring at the fire, his jaw tight. "What if they find out?" he'd ask once, after a close call, me patching a gash on his hand a little too tenderly. I'd shrug, play tough. "They won't. We're ghosts out here. Lies all of it. Love doesn't ghost. It haunts." The conflict hit like a frag grenade on day 19. We'd pushed deep into the forest, rain sheeting down in biblical fury, when the simunition round tagged Ramirez, blue paint splattering his vest like a bad tattoo. "Man down!" Kowalski bellowed, but Hale waved it off. "Push through. Extractions 2 clicks north." That's when the Rayal storm broke. Not the weather, but the kind that festers in men's hearts. Kowalski, who'd been riding Lucas hard all week about looking soft, cornered him behind a fallen log during a brief halt. I was 10 yards off, coiling rope, when I heard the snarl. "You think I don't see it, Grant? The way you two eye fuck like it's basic? Army ain't no rainbow parade." My blood iced. I froze, rope slipping from numb fingers. Lucas's voice came steady, laced with steel. "Back off, Kowalski. Ain't your business." But Kowalski laughed, ugly and low. "Oh, it's my business when it gets us all court-martialed. Fraternization's one thing. Faggotry? That's a career ender." The word landed like a slap, echoing the slurs I'd buried from my high school days. I stepped forward, fists balled, But Lucas shot me a look. Sharp, pleading. Not now. Kowalski sauntered off, but the damage was done. Betrayal's a slow poison, and that night, as we bedded down in a sodden lean-to, it seeped in. Lucas pulled me close under the poncho, his body trembling not from cold. He's gonna rat us, he whispered. Hale's already sniffing around. I heard him grilling Ramirez about unit cohesion. I wanted to rage, to drag Kowalski into the mud and make him choke on his hate. But fear clamped down harder. We fight it, I said, tracing the line of his collarbone with my thumb. A touch that said more than words. Together. He kissed me then, fierce and fleeting, tasting of salt and desperation. Always, Link, but if it comes down, I won't let it take you. His words hung like smoke, ominous. I should have seen it for what it was, a promise wrapped in goodbye. The climax crashed down at dawn on Extraction Day. The river, usually a lazy creek, had swollen into a monster from the relentless rain, chocolate-brown waters churning with debris, roaring like a freight train off the rails. Our orders were clear. Ford it, link up with the helipad on the far bank. Hale barked coordinates, his face a mask of grim focus under the brim of his cap. Hayes, Grant, scout the crossing. Ramirez, Kowalski, cover fire if hostiles pop. We nodded, slinging rifles, but my gut twisted. The current was suicide. One slip and you'd be tree limb fodder miles downstream. We crept to the bank, rain stinging like needles, the world reduced to gray blur. Lucas went first, probing with a branch, his boots sinking into the silt. Solid here, he called back, voice barely cutting the roar. I followed, heart in my throat. When the bank gave way, a undercut shelf collapsing under my weight. I plunged, water closing over my head like a coffin lid, the current yanking me under. Panic exploded. Lungs burning, rifle gone. The world a whirl of mud and cold. I surfaced gasping, snagged on a root, but the river wanted me bad. Then him, Lucas. He didn't hesitate, dropped his weapon, stripped his pack, and dove in without a life vest, without a thought. Lincoln! His shout pierced the din as he swam against the beast, arm over arm, reaching me just as the root snapped. We tumbled together, his arms locking around my chest like iron bands. Hold on, he yelled, kicking us toward a half-submerged log. I clung, sputtering, his face inches from mine. Eyes wild, lips blue. We hauled onto the log, gasping, but the real shock was just starting. From the bank, Hale's voice boomed through a bullhorn. Grant, that's an order. Get back here. You're endangering the mission. Kowalski was there too, megaphone in hand, his face twisted in something between triumph and terror. It's him or us, Sarge. He's gone rogue. The squad stared, frozen, rain masking tears or sweat, who could tell? Lucas ignored them, focused on me, tying his belt around my waist to secure us. Not leaving you, he muttered, breath ragged. Never. But Hale wasn't having it. Private Grant. Return to formation or face charges. Fraternization, insubordination. The word fraternization hung heavy, loaded. Kowalski must have spilled. The betrayal complete. His whisper to Hale sealing our fate. The squad murmured, shock rippling like the water. Ramirez crossed himself. And Lucas? He turned then, still half in the flood, me lashed to his side, and met Hale's gaze across the raging divide. I'm not going anywhere without him, Lucas shouted, voice cracking the storm like lightning. He's not just my battle buddy, he's my heart. Yeah, you heard that right. Lincoln and I, we're in love. And if that shocks you, if it ends me, then so be it. But I'm choosing him over your goddamn orders. The words detonated. Hale's face went ashen, bullhorn slipping from his grip. Kowalski recoiled like he'd been shot. The squad, hell, the forest itself, went dead silent, save the river's howl. Lucas had laid it bare. Out there in the deluge, no hiding, no ghosts. A choice that shattered the chain of command, exposed us all to the raw underbelly of what it meant to serve in America's volunteer force. They hauled us out eventually. Choppers thumping in low, ropes dropping like salvation. Medics swarmed, hypothermic blankets and hot coffee. But the real chill was in Hale's eyes as he read us our rights on sight. "Court-martial pending," he growled, voice thick with something that might have been regret. "Both of you, for conduct unbecoming." Kowalski avoided our gaze. Ramirez clapped our shoulders in quiet solidarity. Lucas and I sat side by side on the hello bench, soaked and spent, his hand finding mine under the blanket. No words needed, we'd crossed the Rubicon. The fallout was swift, American justice grinding like a well-oiled machine. Discharges honorable for me, other than for Lucas, the one who'd initiated the scandal. Brass called it a teaching moment for unit cohesion, but the papers ate it up. Lovers leap in the Carolinas. Army romance rocks Fort Bragg. Protests erupted outside the gates. LGBTQ vets waving flags, preachers thundering from pulpits about moral decay. We holed up in a Raleigh motel, scraping by on savings and odd jobs, the weight of betrayal heavy but not crushing. Kowalski, transferred out, rumor had it he cracked under his own guilt requesting psych eval. Hale wrote us a letter weeks later, stiff and signed, but it said enough. "You reminded me what courage looks like. Semper Fi." In the end, it wasn't tragedy or triumph, just the messy human truth. Love as the ultimate act of defiance in a land built on reinvention. Lucas and I drove west in a beat-up Ford, chasing sunsets from the Smokies to the Badlands. No ranks, no rivers to ford but the ones inside. We'd stop at diners with neon signs flickering open 24/7, sharing pie and plans. Maybe a ranch in Montana, or his sketches turned into graphic novels. "Worth it?" I'd ask on quiet nights, his head on my chest. He'd smile, that Pacific Storm grin. "Every damn drop. America's a big country, full of shocks and choices that redefine you." Ours? It didn't end in glory or graves. Just two guys, hands intertwined on a dashboard, heading toward whatever horizon calls. And in that, we found our peace. Not in the fight, but in the fierce, flawed beauty of choosing each other every single time.